Welcome back to Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz. As always, we're interested in your questions and comments, and you can write to us at conversations@archlu.org. Now, before we get started with today's show, we have some special guests. We're going to introduce you in a moment to the Clan family, who are members of St. Francis Xavier in Mount Washington, out in Bullock County. They were part of a fundraising activity where they had a raffle, and they won. That means they get to come and watch the taping of our shows today and then have a lunch out with Archbishop Kurtz. So Archbishop, tell us about our guests.
Sure, and I guess I'm the winner because I get a chance to have lunch with a nice family.
Yeah.
Let me introduce the Clan family. I'm very happy to introduce Jody and Jason Clan. The two of their children are here, Austin and Madeline. Austin just received confirmation. And then Jody's mom and dad, Dale and Yvonne DePoyster, are also here from Grayson County. Thank you for being here and for being part of this. And I think we're going to Vincenzo's for lunch right after this. So I'm looking forward to it.
With their good pastor, Father Dale.
How could I forget? Father Dale Cieslik has been so good with this. And in fact, he's really a great model for a pastor who reaches out and is connected with his people. So I'm delighted with that.
Now, we got a full show here today. We got 3 segments. The first segment, Archbishop, we're going to talk about the Synod.
Good.
You just returned a short while ago from the Synod. We're going to talk then to one of our pastors about family and his reflections on the Synod. Right. And then we're going to talk about why Catholic and 2 key topics in Catholic morality, sin and virtue. So we got, I hope this is a 20-hour show because we got lots to talk about today.
It is.
So let's begin. Let's talk about the Synod first. You just came back. So tell us, remind everybody about the Synod, and then what happened there?
Yeah. Well, let me begin, first of all, Brian, by saying, how could I talk about the Synod without talking about Pope Francis? And I reflected when I was coming back in the plane, and I thought, Pope Francis is just such a good pastor. Yeah. I was reminded of the words of Jesus, where his heart was moved with pity. And I actually looked it up. I think that appears in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, I think 24 times, where Jesus, his heart is moved with pity. It's like a litany. And I see that in Pope Francis. So he called a double synod. He called the first synod that we just completed, the Extraordinary Synod, that was a smaller group, primarily the presidents of the Episcopal conferences from throughout the world. And then we're getting ready next October for the General Synod. This one, Brian, was on the challenges of the family. The next one, which is logical, will be on the vocation and mission of the family to the world and to the church.
Okay, so that's a lot. Now, okay, the challenges of the family. So you talked about those challenges, I assume. I think you recall what's called a Synod Father, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So and each Synod Father gets an opportunity to make an intervention?
We did. I did. I had that privilege to do it. And in fact, you won't be surprised to know that my intervention was very similar to what my blog was when I was going over beforehand. I had a threefold prayer, and I made it part of the intervention. First of all, I felt that we're in desperate need to restore confidence in the minds and hearts of people that they can have a fruitful and a good and faithful marriage, that they can have a good and fruitful family. And so the first purpose of the Synod, as I see it, would be to raise up faithful witnesses, people who are obviously within struggles. We all struggle, but within those struggles, they are really seeking to live a faithful life, and often sacrificially, with sacrificial love. So that was the first one. Secondly, I mentioned something that's dear to our Holy Father, and that is what we call the art of accompaniment. What does it mean to find a family in need, to reach out and accompany them, beginning where they are? Yeah. Accepting where they are and leading them to the light of Christ. And we do it in a spirit of conversion, that all of us are called to convert our whole hearts and minds to Christ. So that reaching out and welcoming people. And the third part of my Synod intervention was to uncover the beauty of the gift of marriage and family. In our secular world, we get so darn busy that we forget that through sacred scripture and our theological reflection over the ages, we have a great gift of the beauty of marriage and family, and that gift needs to be uncovered and called for within our lives.
Archbishop, your enthusiasm for it is on your face.
Yeah.
You know, the second movement there, that accompanying.
Yeah.
Thanks for allowing us to accompany you. You know, you blog, you send Twitters, and all of these messages. A lot of us throughout the Archdiocese, frankly throughout the world, got to follow you along, and thanks for doing that, because that made it particularly personal.
Well, I was happy to, and in fact, I was privileged that we broke into 10 small groups, which are called the language groups, and I was elected the moderator of our language group, which meant there were about 26 of us in the room, and I had a chance to kind of make sure we stay on task and involve people. And I think the summary of that group ended up capturing the spirit very well.
That is terrific. Now what happens next? Where does all this go? You've had this wonderful 2-week experience and the written documents, but where does that, I know part of it leads to next year, but
it does.
What happens now?
It does. I'm glad you asked. Well, many people may have read about the various working documents,
sure
but there were, if you include the 10 small groups, there were 12 working documents we used.
Okay.
At the end of that, the Synod delegates, or the Synod fathers, as you said, we voted. And what we ended up with was basically 62 paragraphs of a document given to Pope Francis. He immediately made it public, which I'm grateful for. Now, Pope Emeritus Benedict did the same thing 2 years ago, which we were also grateful for. So I think, Brian, what will happen is that document will become the beginning stage for the next synod.
Okay.
It's called in Latin the lineamenta. All it means is threshold. It's the threshold for the next document. And we'll hear more about this probably in the next month, about the way in which we can have consultation within the Archdiocese. I hope the consultation we have will be grounded in this document. So we'd like people to study it and then to move forward so that come let's say October of next year, whoever are appointed as the delegates will be well prepared to address the new question, and that is, what is the vocation and what is the mission of the family in today's world and today's church? You
know, the previous synod, a couple years ago, on evangelization, really spoke to the going out, and Pope Benedict into Pope Francis modeled that. But boy, has this topic of the family captured our imaginations. It's as if, and I know it's not new, Archbishop, but it's as if the Church finally says, we know families are the core structure of the society. We're talking to you, we're talking with you, and we're listening to you.
Absolutely, and I go back to Pope St. John Paul II's quote from Familiaris Consortio: the future of the world, the future of humanity passes through the family. That's wonderful. That's
true for all of us. All the constructs how families take shape these days, we're all part of a family, and what a rich opportunity.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to be probably talking about that for quite a few more shows over the coming years, because this is really the key question for the Church today is how do we speak to this? So,
Brian, I know we have only a minute left, but I would say to those who are viewing, if they could become students of the Synod, as we, in the record, in the various ways we communicate, I please encourage those who are viewing to be able to not only read, but to participate, to be part of this renewal of family within our Archdiocese.
Well, in the next segment, you're going to talk about family again with Father Dave Harris, one of our pastors who has 3 parishes in the Germantown area, and he's going to talk about his ministry, but also what he sees as a pastor serving and dealing with families. Exactly. We thank you for being with us. Stay tuned for the next segment. We'll be coming up just after this short break.